selling the house. And
Yeah, that was we were in Asheville, North Carolina, at a wedding, and that was the first time we'd been to Asheville, and we loved it. We walked around and saw these musicians busking and all this, and it was just a really cool town. And it was the day before the wedding that we got there, and so that evening he was looking at something on the computer and came across this blog called Technomadia. And it's this couple that was living on the road at that time, 8 years or something. And we didn't really know that full-time RVing was a thing. What is this? Like, that's a thing? Like, people live on the road full-time? That's crazy. But it was really cool at the same time, and we just started reading about it and realizing that was an option to be able to live on the road and see places like this all the time. Actually, I remember we were living in Houston, and we went out to eat one night, and I just remembered that moment, like, we're gonna do this, aren't we? Like, there's no way we can't do this.
Probably a year, like, it took.
Until we actually bought the RV and started selling the house.
So we hadn't really played all that much. I mean, as much as we could.
Yeah, we were both working full-time jobs and trying to do it then. And as we started traveling more, we were like, okay, well, we're going to take the opportunity to try to play where we're going.
There's a lot of open mics though, because we didn't have any connections to a lot of the places we went. And we had recorded our first album
while we were living in
Houston, but I don't think we didn't really think it was possible to be to do music full time. I think we're both pretty strong believers in learning from people who know how to do things well. We took singing lessons when we were in Houston because we knew we could get better. And then Daryl Scott, we went to his songwriting workshop just because it was like, well, I mean, we can, and why not? And there's no way it could,
we won't get something out of it. And I think that's a thing too, is why we keep trying to fit that in. And I mean, it's, as we are now more full-time music, it's harder to do from a financial standpoint, but we still try to do it when we can, because every time we've done it, we get so much out of it. There's just something that it really changes the way everything happens going forward. Like the songwriting workshop with Mary Gaucher at Target, that has dramatically changed my songwriting for the better. Just the way I approach things. And so every time we do it, it's a big positive influence. So we try to do it as much as we can.
So at first it was like I got a banjo and it worked well with Crystal's songs. So I just started accompanying her. And I was like, oh, I mean, my main instrument at the time was guitar. And so I was like, well, I can bring guitar into this. And looking back on that, I don't think it ever worked all that well. Just combination of the tone that I could get out of it and my skill level, trying to do similar things that I'm doing on the banjo, and wasn't really cutting through the mix, and then I have this weird thing with my fingers where I can't really play guitar all that much anymore. And then we went to Ossipee String Camp, and I got to play in that octave, not that particular one, but the brand and model, and I'd been thinking about it for a while because you see them around, and you hear how gorgeous they are. And so I got to play it, and I was like, okay, I think this is gonna, and then I couldn't get it out of my head.
So you met at a songwriting group.
We did, yeah.
It was a
songwriting open mic.
So it was all original open mic.
Yeah, in Bryan, Texas, a place called the Village Cafe. And it was my roommate and I we went as the Imaginary Friends, was our group name, and then Crystal showed up by herself, and then there's this other guy, Chris Klontz, who was kind of the leader of the
Kind of ran the
open mic and at this cool little cafe. And yeah, we all went every week pretty much and became friends. And yeah.
Do you co-write together?
Maybe not yes and no.
But not probably in the sense where
Traditional
people would
sense.
think of it, like, okay, let's write a song, and you sit down and write together. I'm more the lyrics person, or have been traditionally, and so I'll typically work on a song for a while before he'll come into it. You know, like I get a lot of it there.
Or like the seed will be planted and then you work on it for a while.
Yeah.
Lyrically. Bang your head against the wall, from what I can tell, for hours and days and months. And I'm like, if it doesn't come to me within like 10 minutes, I'll move on, you know, and still work on stuff.
Yeah. But I'll
I
just
can't.
say, like, okay, that's not right. Like, I know this line is not right yet, and I'll just keep working at it, you know, and I'm fine sitting with it. And, you know, I've learned a lot musically, melodically, and how to, because for me, you know, I don't come from a musical background or instrumental background or anything like that, so it's, guitar was very much a vehicle for my songwriting. Like, okay, I have these words that I want to turn into songs. Okay, I need to have chords behind it, and that's all it was for me for a long time. And so I've learned how, like, okay, this instrument can say a lot. You know, that can change how the song sounds by changing these chords, and doing this just adds this whole other dimension. And that's been something we've learned from workshops and just from him teaching me, like, oh, what about this? I'm like, oh, yeah, that, you know, I'd have never thought to do that. It's just, yeah.
So when we started off, I was still working my 40-hour-a-week programming job, and then when we released our last album, I went down to half-time, because it felt more possible than before, but still it was just like, well, let me just go down to half-time so I can spend more time.
Still play
and,
it safe.
yeah, and just gradually work towards it, but not ever knowing. I mean, still, it's like, who knows? But
There's never a right time, really. But
yeah, almost like just hoping that it would seem like the right thing to do, to quit altogether, which is what last month and a half ago is when I quit. And so yeah, it's been good, still progressing, getting better.
I remember all those rides home on the back roads of twists and winds. You called me over to your lap, then you'd let me drive. Have you forgotten